I want to demo to you the latest factory assistant, which is going to be done through the generative AI agent. I want to run the use case from the playground, but just so you know, it can also be run from the Now Assist side panel. Just so we have some more real estate, I'm going to do the demo from here. When I start the use case off, the agent is going to introduce themselves. And after they introduce themselves, it's going to provide a series of options that let me start working towards the type of digital product that I want to build. There's a series of templates available for each of the different industries. And here it'll list the industries for which we have templates. Just to see the government templates, by clicking one, that would filter out the rest of the templates from the choice list that gets presented to the end user. When I get to the section on the available templates, these are the base templates. And what I'm doing now is picking the best one that suits me. I'm going to go ahead and do a social program today, so I'm going to pick number 2. The first thing the agent is tasked with doing is describing the service to me, explaining what type of services will be available once I build this product for my program. We can see here that there's 3 services that we'll be delivering, and these 3 services are going to be external facing, apply for benefits, appeal disputes, general inquiry, and then there's support services. So these are more for internal people. And it says on the bottom, the delivered services will be accessible through the delivery catalog, and the supporting services will be available in the Employee Center portal. That gives me a list of basically what it's going to build for me. Let's go ahead and go with that template. If I said no here, it would let me pick another template, and it would also describe that template in a similar way. Now I need to provide the name of my organization. So I'm going to say the state of Arizona. Building context so that I can give our AI the context needed to build a program that's representative of what they're trying to do here. So when I say provide a name, I'm going to do welfare or cash assistance in this one. I'm going to put that name in. Then it's going to ask me to describe the service, or this is the entire product, not just a single service, because we know we're going to have 5 services inside of our product. Now it wants a detailed description, so I'll describe this. And in this case, we're building a welfare or cash assistance, and that includes all of the services that would be part of that program, both the internal services and the external services. So yes, I do want to add a few services here because those 3 services that it's delivering right now, they're not adequate. The 2 things I want to add to this, besides being able to apply for this assistance, I want to also be able to add a family member to my program. Let's say I have a baby or adopt somebody even. So now I needed to add a new family member. I might need another additional service, and maybe the application process is different when you're reapplying versus originally applying. I want to also create another service for reapplying for welfare. Now I have the services that were built from the template that are included with any social program. And now I have 2 of the services of my own that the AI will build models for me and also build my intake forms and everything else that I need. No, I don't want any additional services. I will be the owner of the digital product. Would I like to add other collaborators? So in this case, other people in my department or agency that would like to contribute to the development of this application. And I'm going to pick on Jeff today and put Jeff's name in here. And I'm going to add us on as collaborators. When the AI builds the product, it's going to automatically add Jeff and myself to the scope of the product so that we can be contributors in the citizen development part of that product. It's going to go through a series of information to tell me that the request has been successfully submitted to the factory. It'll give me a link so that I can go ahead and watch the status of my build as it happens. In this short period of time, I was able to gather all those requirements from the end user, and then that end user will get a link in their email which will give them a status to come and watch their digital product being built. It'll go through all the steps here, including configuring the end users, building the data models, even kicking in AI to build our 2 additional services that we didn't have in the beginning. Once complete, I'll get an email that looks like this one, and it'll tell me that my product is ready. It has the name of the product up here, Welfare or Cash Assistance. I could log in as this user, Derek. I'm going to bring up another browser for that window. What Derek sees is the services that we built: appeal, apply, cash assistance questions, general inquiries, Those 3 were part of our base template. And these other 2 are the ones that got built by AI for us, including the name and the description. If I go to apply for welfare, I'd be able to apply. It puts Derek's name in there for us. And then I can go ahead and submit that. And you'll see it's being submitted against the product models inside of PSDS in this case, because that's the industry model that we built on top of. Besides that service that we just submitted, I also have the services that AI built for us. So inside welfare or cash assistance, those 2 new services that were built, one is AZ Stability Connect. That's what Gemini named it for us because we used an AI call to do that. And then it built a default form for me. Are you eligible for cash assistance? It asks me a few questions and it builds a few variables for me. It got us started so that we can go ahead and use this service or use the other service inside welfare and cash that was created for us. That's the use case as the end user. If we come back to that email that we were looking at before, you can log in to an agent console. You want to use this user that was created. There's a welfare or cash assistance agent user created. That's the user that's dedicated to working on our service. And we'll be able to go ahead and click on those cases and work the cases. One came into the social benefits table, and the other one came into our general inquiry table. Our government service case has a default playbook, and here it'll walk you through instructions. I can walk through the instructions, and that playbook instructions will be on here. We only have a placeholder for that playbook, but you can go in and edit that playbook, which we'll show you in the next step. I could also change the fields on here if I want to change the forms, but this way you can at least see what the initial form looks like before you go start changing it for your specific use case. We looked at the cases that were opened by our end user. Now we're going more into the IT support and the citizen development side. First thing I could do here is go into a special page in the Employee Center. Now I'd be in as an employee in this one, and I'd be logging in as that employee to submit a specific IT request against the program that I created. So if I go into file an enhancement request for welfare or cash, it gives me the option to actually drill down and say, okay, the service is welfare or cash, but what offering am I logging this enhancement request against? So here I could say I'm logging it specifically against welfare or cash assistance. I can put the title in, and then this would go into the development queue for the enhancement. This structure is built out just to give you an idea of how you can see that. Under digital product support, we will have a specific report for welfare or cash assistance. And that's an optional piece, but that's what our template developed for us. We can go to the developer console. So if I want to change anything inside of this, I can click on our developer console. That will bring us in as a citizen developer. So in my case, it emailed me my account, which was the J Spirko SN account. And that account is the one that I'm going to use. So underneath my apps, it will show me, it'll bring me right into the app that we developed. So the one for welfare cash. But if I go back to my applications, I'm a restricted developer. This is really important because I can't do any development anywhere else. So that user that we created gets locked down to just that one application. If I wanted to inside this one application, I can go and change any of my data structures. If I wanted to change my table, any of the data in my table, I can customize this at will. It won't affect anybody else. This is an extended table, and it's extended off of the base tables. If I click up here and I go to properties, you'll see that this is the application table. So it's extending our social benefits case table. There's all this greatness that comes from that extension. Any of the features built into the underlying table, you'll be able to get. I can also go back in and change any of the experiences. If I wanted to go and change my appeal dispute form, I can click on this, and this is my front end form, right? My record producer. And I'd be able to go in and change any of the questions that I have and go back into the end user and test those out. I can also go ahead and change this process definition so that the playbook that we were looking at earlier has more specific instructions in it. In this playbook, you'll be able to design and create the branches and these different pieces so that you can build it as needed. If you want to view the industry data model that was created by the factory, you can click on this link and it'll bring you into dependency map. welfare or cash assistance. We built the service to apply. The Arizona Forward and AZ Stability Connect were two that AI created, but you can still see it. There's the corresponding model for those. We also have the service offerings to appeal the dispute and create a support request against welfare or cash assistance. That's the last step of the email, but this is a really quick way to get a prototype. It took us about 10 minutes from the start to the end. Thank you very much.